Hello, hello, hello. Welcome along to another Instagram Live, sponsored by Real Life Ninjas. I am going to be going live, having a good chat with the UK's Tom Aspinall. He is an interested party, I think, in our main event later tonight. So I wanted to get his views. We were chatting off air, and I always like to have a chat with Tom. He's a super good dude, and he's got a great fight brain as well. So I thought we'd take this to you guys. So I am now just waiting for Tom. He is online. He needs to request. If you are there, Tom, you need to request, and I will let you join. How are we all doing? Welcome to Saturday. Oh, there he is. Tom's joined. Just request to be involved, Tom, and I will get you on board. Got a decent crowd already. Hello. Thank you for joining us. There he is.
John, I'm on.
I can't flex. How's my flex? Am I getting there? I've been lifting heavy, Tom.
I've seen better, John, to be honest. What about if I turn it this way?
No, I'd rather you turn it the other way.
Okay, let's keep it this way then. You've
already got people giving me a whole bunch of grief about me talking about veganism. So let's get it out of the way. I've had people in my DMs already, like people that don't follow me usually. And hello, mate, are you vegan? Oh yeah, Mike, something's going on here. Check your stories, and I think I've figured it out.
Right, John, how do I get the comments off?
I don't think you can. You've got to deal with it.
That's distracting, isn't it?
Don't worry about it.
That's distracting.
Are you not like seduced by my eyes, where you're just constantly looking at me, or is the writing too much for you?
No, I mainly just look at myself. I just catch myself enjoying my own imagery when I'm on stuff like this.
Well, since you've been with the UFC, you've shown us a couple of different images. What are we going here? I mean, with the lighting that you got, I'm seeing a bit heavy metal-esque.
What do you mean?
Well, with like this beard.
Well,
I mean, if you had some long hair coming down the back, which I can't really see, I reckon that you could be like on base.
No, what happened was I got a new shaver, and the guard moved as I was shaving, like as I was trimming the mustache, and I ended up looking like Hitler. So it had to go. The mustache went altogether. So see, I've got an absolutely giant chin. John, is the problem. So it looks a bit odd. If I have nothing there, it looks a bit odd. So yeah, I've got to keep something there. Do you know what I mean?
It's a bit like a Christmas tree and tinsel. They just don't look right unless they got a bit of tinsel around them.
Exactly. So I'm just I'm going to start growing the mustache a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm not. It doesn't happen in this area for me.
Right, it's a little lean. It's a little lean in this area for me, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, you get what you're given, don't you, with stuff like that? There's not a lot you can do about it, so I just embrace it. I just embrace what I've got, and that's all. Okay. Unfortunately, well, unless you're going to get a transplant, are you not going down the transplant route, John?
The thing is, I've got to disappear for probably 9 months, haven't I, to do that? And I've got to go through that whole chicken skin phase that we saw Costa showed us. And I'm not about that, Tom. If I'm going to do it, I need to do it on the slide. I probably should have done it through lockdown when no one was seeing me, because I haven't been on the TV for a little while. But of course, we didn't know this. You know, I could have planned something. And also, like these ears need to get dealt with. I can't have a skinhead with ears like this. They're just a bit too Gary Lineker, aren't they? They're a bit too...
Why don't you grow the beard and shave the head?
So here's a little thing. I did grow a beard when I was with the UFC a few years ago, and apparently the bosses didn't like it. So I had to get rid of the beard.
You're joking me? They can't say that. They can't say that to you. All right. Fair enough. That's...
Listen, there are greater arguments to have with our bosses, aren't there, than a bit of facial hair. And I like to keep people happy. Do you know what I mean? The wife loved it, but she had to take second place to what the bosses thought. So, so that's where we're at.
I didn't even know they could say stuff like that, John, to be honest. I thought they could just leave you to whatever you want.
They probably could, but listen, I do get it. When you're doing certain roles in TV, are a certain way. Like if I started turning up in a tap out t-shirt and like, you know, some sort of blazer, it just doesn't cut it, does it? There's an expectation. So I appreciate that. And it might not even been the UFC, by the way. It might have been one of the other network partners. I didn't really kind of fight my corner too hard. So it's just a bit of facial hair. I just go with the 5 o'clock shadow most of the time. Yeah, just to cover up the ills underneath.
I'm with you. It suits you. It suits you anyway. You look all right, John. You look well.
I have an update for you. If you tap the screen 3 times, apparently the comments go away.
I'm all right. I'm ignoring them now. I'm ignoring them. I'm all right with it. The comments are all right.
All right.
I'm just looking at. I'm just focusing on you, John. Just letting you know. Just focusing on you. So
I appreciate
we'll go with that.
That's wonderful attention. So for those that are joining here, I will get to some questions and things like that. Thank you very much for joining already. And we've got badges and things like that. Now, because I haven't worked since January properly, Tom, I'm now basically canvassing for money from anyone that will give it to me so I can go and buy lentils and pea milk for my daughter. So we have things like that. You're getting people are jumping on, they're hijacking this to give you invitations to podcasts. But before we get to the questions, and I will go through them because they come up separately, I was very interested in your thoughts on the main event tonight. We've had a couple of chats offline, and I thought it'd be nice to take it offline and let the fans share in your wisdom. So, top line, mate, what do you think about this one tonight for the interim heavyweight strap?
I think Derek Lewis is going to wrestle him.
What?
No, I'm just messing. It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one. I found out that, like, after watching Derek Lewis live, because we fought on the same show last time, like when he fought Curtis Blades is when I fought Arlovsky, so I watched it live. And I realised he's actually, although he looks, well, he doesn't look, let's be honest, he is technically not the best. 1 sec, I'm actually going to turn them comments off. It's a little bit distracting. Keep popping off every 2 seconds. That doesn't work for me, John. I think you just lied to me.
That's the price of fame. So, well, someone said to me, tap the screen to get the comments off. So
no, they're bullshitting me. They're just having me tapping the screen like a knob. No, but so yeah, what I was saying was, although he's not the best technically, he is. He's very good tactically. His fight IQ is very good. So right. although he's got a limited skill set of essentially just unloading extreme bombs, he picks the right time to do it. You don't often see him miss. You don't often see him, gas himself out, even though his cardio is obviously not the best. I mean, we've seen it in the past, obviously, but I feel like he's very clever with it. He's very slick with it, actually. Whereas Cyril Gane is obviously a lot better technically than Derek Lewis is. Like, that's obvious. Like, anyone can see that, even if you're not into the sport. But I still think Derek Lewis has a massive chance because he's so good tactically, even though he's not the best technically, if that makes any kind of sense to anybody.
Yeah, I guess for me, I look at his footwork, his positioning in the octagon, the angles he uses, and you're talking about being smart. I guess he's been in enough big fights now to judge when to go, and he lures you into a space where he can unload those shots, and you can't say that they're lucky strikes. The guy's training to put those hands on you, and he gets it done.
Yeah, he's done it a lot of times. So obviously he's not just only got power on its own. Like, he's very good with setting it up. He's very good at... See, what he does very well is he almost plays possum a little bit with him. So he'll pretend that he's hurt, or he'll pretend that he's tired, let him step in a little bit much, and then come over the top. On the flip side of it, Cyril Gane is very clever in he won't take risks. He stays in a very safe zone when he fights, of 1 or 2 or maybe 3 maximum shots he'll throw, and he'll use his footwork and use his distance very well. So I don't know. I would say Gane's going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. Just with Gan, with his style and with his team, I know that he comes from a very good team as well. And he's very disciplined, Gan, the way he fights. He doesn't get carried away. He doesn't, even if he hurts someone, he doesn't steam in and try and go for the finish. So I think Gan's style suits Lewis very well. But 25 minutes is a long time not to get punched once. So you never know.
Yeah, I was listening to Fernand Lopez, Cyril's coach, talk about concentration. And, 25 minutes to concentrate on anything is super difficult, let alone when you're under those kind of stresses, those lights, that crowd now as well. There are a lot more distractions in there. And as we're all saying, it just takes one from Lewis. But I want to get your thoughts on this because I had the pleasure of speaking with your dad. I've got a little project that I'm working on that hopefully will go out on UFC Fight Pass in the coming months. More on that another time. But your dad is... I learned a lot about you, Tom, through speaking with your dad. But he was talking about finding people to replicate the kind of threats that a lot of these guys at the very top of the heavyweight division pose. So, for example, where do you find someone that can hit like Derek Lewis? And how do you put that into a training environment so that you don't get like significantly hurt, so that it's a detriment to you, but at the same time have it in a useful way so that it's a benefit to the training camp?
I mean, that is a question that goes way beyond my coaching knowledge, which is about zero at this point. I don't know what I would do. What I would be looking to do personally, I'm sure my coaches would say similar thing, is you got to get someone in obviously that can punch really hard, and you have to get yourself really tired. I think training with just that one person wouldn't be enough. You would have to rotate that person with somebody else. So I would think you'd have to do a round with a guy who's going to tire you out, and then a round with the big puncher. So you can have that discipline when you're tired. That's when it's going to be difficult, because it's going to be easy for someone like Gan, or you've seen it with like Curtis Blades and stuff. It's pretty easy fighting someone like Derek Lewis when you're fresh, but it's when you start getting comfortable with him and you start getting a little bit tired, that's when he really like lures you in, and it becomes difficult. So I would say, yeah, get a big puncher in, but you would have to try and start going against him when you're a little bit more tired. Yeah, it's very difficult to say, like I say, John. I'm not a coach, so what the hell do I know?
It was very surprising to me when Cyril Gane, I think we were in Singapore. Was it Singapore? He won by heel hook. Now, this guy's been in mixed martial arts for 3 years. I know that it's different when you're a professional fighter, but like I'm a martial artist on his own journey. And you will know, Tom, because your dad is a jiu-jitsu practitioner, but when you start in the sport and you put on a gi and that white belt around your waist, you're not even allowed to go for heel hooks, knee bars, and things of that nature. Now, I know professional fighting is different, and the no-gi stuff is a different world. However, to be so fluent, and you can maybe disagree, but to be fluent enough to be going for leg locks in a professional MMA bout when you're still pretty green and at the UFC level and land it, I was very impressed by that, because he's leaning on skills that weren't what brought him to the dance. Is it something that you've identified in him that is a bit of an X factor? He's a bit of an outlier in that regard.
Why is Cyril Gane saying that he's been training jiu-jitsu for 3 years?
Well, I don't think it... Well, yeah, I guess so, because he's only been in MMA for 3 years, and before that...
Well, I think Cyril Gane's talking some absolute bullshit then, if that's the case. That's not just straight up not true, John, is it?
You don't think... Do you think that there's more to it than that?
Well, yeah. Do you not?
Well, I'm only going by the facts, because he came over from the Canadian TKO promotion. And before that, he was a Muay Thai fighter. And he only joined Fernand Lopez's gym 3 years ago, 2018. Funnily enough, he was there to help Francis Ngannou, I think, against Overeem. So whatever he's picked up, if we're to believe what's kind of coming out of that camp, then it's only been 3 years. and the dude starts heel hooking people in the UFC, and that did really blow my mind.
Yeah, well, maybe if he's got like a Thai boxing background, obviously it is quite kind of similar. They do like a lot of grappling stuff. I don't know, but if that is true, which I highly doubt, John, I highly doubt that. Fair play to him. He's done well.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you sort of agree with me, because I know that it's very on vogue right now in grappling to be going for the legs, and maybe we're actually coming out of that and we're moving on to something else again. But yeah, the leg locks is a very tricky game, and it can go very wrong. Funnily enough, I did a round with Paul Craig. I know you've trained with Paul not so long ago, and I was up there, and I got myself in a leg entanglement. It was forced. It was a forced position, so I'm going to be honest. I wasn't leading the dance in any way, but I put myself in a position where he had probably 4 different options. Whilst he had my legs, I had one on him, and it's just like, why am I even trying to play this game? It takes such a detailed level of understanding and the mechanics of that. It can go wrong quickly. So yeah, I'm glad that you kind of agree with me, because it doesn't feel like what a newbie would be looking for early on.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult spot to be in. And the thing is, if you go for a heel hook, I've actually won a couple of fights by heel hook, I believe, and I've lost a fight by heel hook as well, and I've also lost a couple of jiu-jitsu competitions with heel hooks as well, and I've won a couple of them. I've won and lost by heel hook. That was what I'm saying. And if you're going to go for them, you better be ready to defend them, because they can work quick either way. And now I don't even mess with them anymore. Do you know what I mean? I don't even, unless it's right there and I can obviously grab it, I don't even bother really going for it anymore. So yeah, I'm off the heel hook game if I can help it. Like I'll stay clear. And the last one I was in, the thing with heel hooks as well is like they come on quick. Like it goes from 0 to my knee's going to pop within a second. And the last time I was in one, it was like, oh, I'm all right. And then next minute, I can't walk for like 6 weeks. So, yeah. And that's because I went for a heel hook first. Do you know what I mean? It's not because, I was attacking the heel hook. I got heel hooked. That's just the risk that you take when you go for them. So, yeah, well, my general rule these days, John, is if I'm getting to the floor, if the submission is not there within the first 20 seconds, I'm just going to elbow you in the face instead. It's much easier. It's much less risky. It's much less risky than a lot less energy gets consumed, gets used. Sorry, than going for subs. So yeah, unless the submission's there quick and I can see it fast, I'll just lie on you and just repeatedly punch and elbow you in the head, as opposed to going for submissions.
That your submission over Arlovsky, I think, underlines that. I don't think I've seen many heavyweights go through the ranges to finish as quickly as what you did. I don't think Arlovsky has faced anything, and I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your ass, mate, but just the look on his face after told the story. To be able to take the back and have that choke in, I just don't think he was expecting it to come that quickly. So it's interesting you talk about, if you need to see the finish within 20 seconds, otherwise you're just not going to bother.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, because I don't think a lot of people, I think you have to be very highly skilled to appreciate how difficult it is to submit someone that fast. Say, through all them different ranges and different things that were involved, there was quite a lot of technical stuff involved to submit Arlovsky in that short time, and I don't think a lot of people you can't really see that unless you know what you're looking at. But yeah, that's the kind of they're the kind of submissions that I like. Do you know what I mean? I like catching submissions within a transition. Me personally, that's when I like to submit people. And what else I like is I like to let people think they can get up, like I did with Arlovsky, and then submit them, as opposed to just attacking the submission straight away. So yeah, that's what I like to do. But like speaking to my dad and stuff, like you said, my dad always says that I'm the best finisher. I mean, he is my dad, so he's going to say good stuff about me, obviously. But he always says, I'm the best finisher in all of MMA. And do you know what? I'm starting to believe that. because if I can finish you from anywhere, I will finish you. Like I'll try and finish you from everywhere. And not a lot of people do that. A lot of people play it safe and just stick to one or two things that they do. But I can finish anywhere in any position with any submission or any strike. And I don't think a lot of people can say that. But I know that I definitely can.
I quite like the way, from conversations with you, that it doesn't feel like you've fallen in love with any one particular discipline. In that you have people that say, "I definitely need the knockout," or "I really want to hit this sub," or something like that. Then you'll have other people, "Oh, I'll sort of take it anyway," but that I can. But I genuinely believe it with you. The finish is the key, and I also believe it because I've seen you do it with your 8 limbs, but also if you get it down to the mat, you can end the fights there as well. It's a very privileged position to be in when you've got the ability to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is something that I actively work on for a long time now. So all I'm saying, John, is one of these days, one of these wrestlers is going to come along and think they can just take me down and lie on me. And let's just see how that goes for them. Because I ain't just going to lie on my back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm one of the rare heavyweights like Fabricio Verdum and people like that, Frank Mir, and I will submit you off my back. Like, you can't just take me down and think, that's it, I'm having a rest. Like, that's just not going to happen with me. I'm either going to elbow the shit out of you, the top of your head, or I'm going to submit you, or sweep you and get on top. I'm going to do one of the three things. So, yeah, wrestlers, be ready for it, because it's just not... It's not just going to go like that. You're not just going to take me down and lie on me. No way.
I'm going to steal one of the questions that I've seen in the feed from a gentleman called Jay, and he asks who you think's got the best jiu-jitsu in the heavyweight division.
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, I don't know about right now, to be honest. There's not much jiu-jitsu being displayed, is there, at the minute, from heavyweights? Not at the minute. Not that I can think of off the top of my head, anyway. I think one of the best jiu-jitsu ever is Fabricio Verdum in the heavyweight division, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah. In my opinion. But right now, not a lot of people are doing jiu-jitsu, are they, at the moment, in the heavyweight division?
Did Chris Dorcas recently get his black belt? Did I see that?
I couldn't tell you, John, to be honest.
I might have seen that. I'd like to see. I think I like watching him. I know he's got a fight coming up as well, hasn't he? Yeah, I like the look of Chris Dorcas. I think he's a really good guy for the division.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good. I've actually met him on a few occasions. He's a cool guy as well. I like him. I'm surprised that they've not tried to match us up, to be honest. I am surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised with that.
Well, I think, allow you guys to grow separately, and then there's a little basket of you new breed heavyweights coming up that will all be competing pretty ferociously for the top 10.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're all going to fight each other eventually, aren't we? So what's the rush? I don't know. I get millions of messages, people saying, "Oh, fight this guy," and I'm like, we're going to fight each other eventually. Like, chill. There's no need to rush anything. We're all going to fight each other. So let's just enjoy the next few years, because they're going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, before we move on from the main event tonight, what do you think about Derek Lewis's ability to get back to his feet? Because people kind of just talk about him just using his strength and things like that. Have you had a chance to put like an expert eye on the way in which he gets back up?
I've not, John, to be honest with you. I've seen him like bench press a couple of people off. Obviously, he's a strong guy, and again, though, that is not just. Although I said it was a bench press, which essentially it is, you're just pushing him off. But you try and push a guy off who's like 120 kilos, like it's near impossible. Like, he's using his timing as well as just pushing him off.
Yeah.
So it's not. Although it might look just like raw strength, which a lot of it is raw strength as well. He's waiting for the right time to do it. So, again, very impressive. Like, if you stick a big guy on top of me and I just try and bench press him off, although I'm a big, strong guy, I'm not going to be able to do it. You have to wait for the right time to do it, when there's a little opening or the weight comes on top of your arms and you're able to push him off. And it's not an easy thing to do. So, fair play to him.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to break any news here. That wasn't the idea of this, but people are going to be asking. So let's kind of like just get this out the way, and I can talk some stuff around it. But do you have a date that the UFC have suggested to you, or an opponent, something like that?
Yeah, I've got both. For some reason, it's not been announced officially because the show has not been announced officially. So
okay, great. Well, with
I wish I could tell people. I do wish I could tell people because I get asked 50 times a day. But,
let's not do that. I don't want to get into trouble. But yeah, so then you're into camp. Is there anything that you're doing differently for this camp than you did from your last? Again, without giving away the specifics of the style or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm doing a fair bit differently, to be honest. It's similar kind of structure, you know what I mean? A camp's a camp. You train, you run, you spar, you grapple, you do all the rest, you do your pads, all that.
Sorry, Tom, you run as well? And I mean this respectfully, but I've heard a lot of you big guys don't really like doing the road work because it does wear on the joints pretty hard.
3 times a week at the minute, John, I'm running. 3 times a week.
Wow.
But I don't run on the road. Like, I don't do road work as such. What I'll do is I'll do the treadmill and I put it on a 2 incline, level 2. So it's up a little bit, and I'll limit my runs are maximum like 25 minutes.
Okay.
And I run intervals. Like, I don't like go for long runs because, like you say, it does smash the knees and stuff.
Right.
So I just try and what I try and do is I just simulate a fight, really. Like, it'll be all kinds of different paces. It'll be like sprint, jog, walk, sprint, jog, run, stuff like that. And it won't be like just continue. Excuse me. It won't just be continuous going like 25 minutes. It's all kinds of everything. And I run hard as well. Like, I try and get myself. See, it's really tough when you're in a training camp because you need to exhaust yourself. Because you don't want the first time you're fully exhausted to be in the octagon in front of millions of people. That's the last thing you want. But at the same time, you don't want to exhaust yourself so much that you can't train to your full potential in your other sessions, if that makes sense. This is something that the legendary Mike Bisping actually told me about. Is that I was asking him about his cardio because Bisping's cardio is legendary, isn't it? Like, that's how he won most of his fights, because he had like the most amazing cardio. And me and Bisping, we're pretty friendly these days. We speak all the time and stuff. And I was asking him like how he got his cardio so good, and he said, believe it or not, the way he got his cardio so good is by training less often. And I was expecting him to come up with some like crazy routines, some crazy cardio routines. And he said, no, what he used to do is, he used to train less times in a week, but the times that he did train, he made sure that he trained like to, as close to 100% as he could.
Okay.
As opposed to doing like, for example, 3 sessions a day at 60%, he would do like 1 session a day at 100%, and then the next day he would be recovered and do 100% again. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't like he couldn't go full out. Like, he would train at full intensity as many times a week as he could, as opposed to like the other way around. So I appreciated that. I appreciate that little advice. I took it on board. So hopefully that's going to help me moving forward.
Ah, interesting. So apart from, I cut you off. So you did say there were a few other changes. What specifically are we talking about?
Oh yeah, I'm just mixing up, mate. I'm just getting as many sparring rounds or as many grappling rounds or whatever with as many big guys as I possibly can. So if I've got to go and box pro boxers, I'll do that. If I've got to go and Thai box with Thai boxers, I'll do that. If I've got to go and wrestle big wrestlers, I'll do that. Like, anything that I can. I'm trying to make myself, John, as uncomfortable as I can in training so that I will be less uncomfortable in the octagon. Do you know what I mean? I want to, as shit as it feels to get schooled, like, it's not easy to, but that's what I'm searching for. I'm searching for people being better than me and putting me in uncomfortable situations as many times a week as I possibly can. Do you know what I mean? I want to be as uncomfortable as I can be, because that's where I improve.
In what discipline are you getting tested most? Boxing, wrestling, and then jiu-jitsu?
Oh, mate, yesterday I got schooled off this Iranian wrestler. This Iranian guy fucking schooled me, man. I was just like, Oh, get off. No, it was yeah. So it's Friday yesterday, wasn't it? And I had a tough week. I had a really tough week, and the GB wrestling squad comes down on Fridays to our gym to Carbon on Fridays to wrestle, and it's weird because of the GB wrestling squad, but most of the guys are either Iranian or Bulgarian. I'm just like, where's the GB people?
A load of ringers.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever, fair enough. Well, let's wrestle. So, yeah, there's a few guys on the squad, man. They're just really good. And this one particular guy, he's just amazing. Like, he's not even he's a big guy, but he's not massive. He's like 85 kilos. I'm like 110 kilos, 115 kilos, and his technique is just so good. He's just all over me, man. And especially we're starting in like bad positions as well. It wasn't like, you know, he would start with a single leg, he would start with a headlock, and we'd go from there. And man, he is just something else. It was amazing. Good training.
Yeah, no, that's positive. Do you still get your head turned by people when you go to boxing? For those that don't know, you had a little jaunt with professional boxing before. I know you're very useful as well. We've seen it in the octagon. But do you get the coaches and guys at the boxing gym trying to, you know, pull you over to boxing every time they see you get a bit handy?
Yeah, I do, to be honest. Yeah, I do. People ask me, you know, what I go to a new gym and people ask me why I'm not boxing and all that stuff, but I just like MMA more, is the honest answer. I just like the freedom of it. I just like being able to throw anything you want and mix it up, you know. Something else that annoys me is like boxers. Like sometimes I'll be sparring and I'll just think, oh, one good leg kick could sort this right out. Do you know what I mean? What? It could sort this guy right out. A couple of good leg kicks here. So yeah, I like being able to mix it up if I can.
Very good. You had young Callum Bisping down at Team Carbon. This is, you know, we're allowed to talk training room. This isn't a training room secret. I'm just looking to see how the young man fared, because we've seen the medals, him on the podiums. He's obviously, you know, his proud father has been championing his cause. But was he good down at Carbon? Did he help you guys out?
Yeah, young Callum's the man. Young Callum's the main man. I love Callum. I think Callum's an awesome guy. Yeah, I mean, we had some good wrestles, man. He's really good. He's a big dude as well. Like he's probably, I think he was saying he's like 105 kilos. You know, there's not much weight difference between me and him. So he's pretty tall. He must be like 6'3", 6'4", something like that. So any big guys, I welcome anyone who can kick my ass. Please come and train with me. Like, I will train with anybody who thinks they can kick my ass, please. And like, that's what I want. Like, so yeah, Callum was welcomed. Of course he was. You know, like I say, me and his dad are friends. I've heard a lot about Callum as well. So yeah, we had a good time.
That's right. How did it, if you don't mind me asking, how did it come to fruition that he ended up down at Carbon? Because he's obviously over there. He's over there for wrestling. I forget the story. Is he trying to qualify for Team GB or something of that nature?
Yeah, I believe so. I think so. Something like that. Well, like I said, the GB team comes to Carbon on a Friday, or some of them. I don't know if it's the full team or some of them. There's a lot of guys come. There must be like 15 of them. And yeah, Mike messaged me and said, like, do you mind if Callum comes? I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Okay, now, yeah, of course. And then he just came down with the other guys, I think. I think that's just how it works. Yeah, he just came. To be honest, I don't even really know. I know Mike was talking about him coming, and then I kind of forgot, to be honest. And I was just there in the gym, and he just turned up, and we just trained, and we had a good time.
Yeah, good stuff. Oh, that's very cool. It's nice to see, like, all the ways these things happen, you know, because Bisping's he's not an old guy by any stretch. I'm not sure if I might even be older than him, but he's got a young man of a son who's following in his father's footsteps in a way. So I love these kind of storylines. It's very cool that you guys get to train with a Bisping, and you know, you can impart some of your wisdom onto him. I think that'd be nice. And it's a UK thing, right? We're a small nation.
Definitely. We need to celebrate our athletes a bit more, John, in my opinion, especially our MMA athletes, because we get no love, man. We get absolutely no love, and we need it. Do you know what I mean? We want to be recognised as the athletes. Like, look at the guys in America. Look at them. The heroes. The heroes in America. Like, the UFC is so big over there. And over here, still people, like, I still have to explain what my job is to people.
Do you
know
really?
what I mean? Like, yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. I'm there at the school gate talking to the mums, and people are saying, "Oh, what's your job then?" I say, "Oh, I'm a professional athlete." And they say, "Oh, what sport do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm with an organisation called the UFC." I say, "Oh, what's that?" Like, people still have no idea. Like, people still don't know what it is. And like I say, in America, when I've been to America, like, it's a whole different feel. Like, it's so big there. It's huge. Like, everyone knows what it is. People are treated like properly and stuff. And over here, people still have not got a clue what it is, John, do they? And it's starting to. I wouldn't say it's starting to piss me off, because it's not, because it's still growing in it. But sometimes I'm just like, where's the love and support for our athletes? That's how I feel personally. Anyway, like, this is. No, I don't know if it's just against the sport, but there's a girl from my little town, Atherton, where I'm from, and she's just got a silver in the Olympics, which is fucking brilliant. Like, I think she's young as well. I think she's like 20 or something like that, and she's doing big things, and she's getting such support, like, around the town and around the whole, like, Manchester area. Do you know what I mean? And like when I got in the UFC, and even like when I beat Arlovsky, a former champion, in Vegas, like, no one knows. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a shit. It's nothing against me. It's just against the sport of MMA. No one really. Still, I feel like it was bigger like 10 years ago. I don't know if you feel the same in the UK. I just feel like it had a big boom like 10 years ago, and now it's just like just filtered out a little bit.
It breaks my heart, if I'm honest, Tom, because one of the whole reason why I got into this was, you know, training under my coaches, and, you know, I don't want to, it's not all about this, but he's struggling. You know, he was, at the time, he was really struggling. He, you know, young family, like, I think he was living above some shops at the time. He'd fought in the UFC. No one knew who he was when he walked down the street, and he's got like 3 black belts in different martial arts, and, you know, lifelong martial artist, but an athlete as well, a professional athlete that could go through all the tests that any other athlete that we celebrate on the telly box, you know. And no one understood what he did at the time. He certainly wasn't getting paid his dues, and it was what really pissed me off. And it was kind of what led me to this side of the sport. And to think that we're still there is upsetting, because those of us that have a position like I do, it's kind of our responsibility to help talk about you guys and help people understand the sport. The UFC do go to great ends. We've got a wonderful team in the UK and Europe. You know, as I've said before about the people that work for the UFC in the UK, they've got to really love their job, because what people have got to understand is they get up the same time as we do in the morning, 8-9 o'clock. But then when Vegas wake up, they have to start the job again, because now they've got demands made from them from across the water, which are 8 hours behind. So you've got to love what you're doing if you want to work for the UFC out of that office. And, you know, we're all trying our best. It's a wide world, and yeah, I don't know the solution. Like, I really don't. I think there are organisations like IMAF that are trying to make inroads with that kind of Olympic deal, Sport for England, things of that nature. So there are people putting in those sorts of foundations. And you'd think with people like McGregor and Darren, those with big profiles, it would get at least the UFC brand out there, and those that are associated with it would feel the influence. But if you're saying it's not, then you know, the exciting thing is people like me, we've still got important work to do. But I'd like it to be at a stage where you guys are getting looked after, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think it's just. I think English people or British people in general, we just don't celebrate our own enough, in my opinion. That's why everyone wants to go to America.
Right.
Because I don't know. I feel like I was listening to a John Fury interview, who is a friend of my family, Tyson Fury's dad, and he was saying like, no wonder Tyson wants to go to America because everybody loves him. Like in the UK, I mean, people do love him a bit more these days, but everyone wants to tear you down, man. You start doing good, and people like they just don't want people to do good. It's really weird, in my opinion, unless you're a footballer. Like, well, you say that, and then look at them footballers who missed the penalty or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even follow football, but
Yeah.
it's like, man, let's celebrate the good stuff that we're doing. Like, we're doing a lot of good stuff, but like, people go over to America, they get loads of money invested into them, they get loads of support by people, and like, I'm not surprised people are going there.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating. So you can have, well, hopefully you're laying the foundations. It sounds crazy to say that you're like a forefather of this in a way, but we are still a young sport, and I do believe that the good work that people like yourself do, and just being a different personality than some of the other guys that have popped, if you like, even Darren. You guys are so very different. That's gonna help because people will latch onto your personality and your story, and they'll be inspired by that. So yeah, that's it's interesting. Now we got some questions that we can get to here, Tom. Right, what we got? What would Tom's game plan be against the current champ, the Predator?
I get my bike. I start pedaling really fast till he gets tired, and then I try and punch him a few times. No, yeah, he's so dangerous, isn't he? So dangerous. It's tough. Let me first start by saying I need more experience before I fight somebody like that. Let me just start. I'm just starting by saying that. So this stuff that I'm going to say, I don't mean I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to use my experience that I'm going to get over the next few fights and work it when I fight somebody like that. What you would need to do is you need to make him miss a lot. Is what you need to do. You need to throw a lot of feints and let him counter and make him miss, which is a very risky game to play. That's what you'd have to do with him. Is you need to draw him out of his shell, let him throw, and then make him miss. You need to do that for at least 2 rounds, I reckon, until his arms started getting very tired. You don't want to wrestle him straight away. You don't want to wrestle him because he's fucking really strong. Like, you'll tire yourself out more than he'll get tired. You need to make him miss. That's what you need to do with him, which a lot of the current heavyweights don't have the fight IQ to do that. And I think I do. But I need more experience before I start doing that.
What's interesting is I'm sure that Cyril is sitting there thinking that, well, he's staring at a title shot now, and then he could get to fight Francis. And he's like, what is he? I've forgotten his record off the top of my head, which is terrible of me. I've just done a show with him. But, 3 years in the game, Tom, and he's staring at a belt. And then maybe his next fight, if he gets past Derek Lewis, is going to unify them or look to unify them. And yet you're sitting here saying, and I know that you've been wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu since you were a wee boy. Yeah, it's mad. I'm sure those questions will be in Cyril's mind. He's going to have to quieten that down when he goes up, probably tonight, and for his next fight as well.
Yeah, but if you look at the way Cyril's fights have gone, he has had a few. Wait, what was his last fight? Who did he fight last?
Cyril Volkov.
Yeah. So that he's had like 2 back-to-back 5-rounders.
Yeah,
which is that's inevitable experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great.
Like if you look at my fights, for example, just in comparison, like I've only been to the second round twice 3 times if you include my 10 amateur fights as well.
Oh dear. Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? I need them rounds as well, like them guys have got. Although, like you say, he's not had a whole lot of fights, and he's been in the game a short amount of time. He has actually had a lot of octagon time, which is something that not a lot of people look at. Like if you look at Francis, for example, he doesn't have a lot of octagon time, which you could see when he fought Stipe in the first fight. He didn't really know what to do when he went past the second round or whatever.
Yeah, Yeah, I had a really frank and an honest conversation with Francis a few years ago now, where he was telling me about how he was launched straight up into this position of, the way that the UFC were marketing him, and you can't blame them for doing so. It was a wrecking machine, and he scored that world record on the power hit, whatever it was. It was as powerful as being hit by a Ford Escort, whatever it was that came out. But he was quite honest with, his whole journey from Africa to then into Europe was many years of solitary, just him on his own, trying to find a way for a better life. And he didn't have a great network. He never had a lot of people around him. And then all of a sudden he's thrust into the spotlight, and he really did not know how to deal with that. And then he goes further and further. He's got no support to make the right choices. And it just showed me that there's so much more to the fight game, or reaffirmed to me, there's so much more to the fight game than just your performances in the octagon. Life experience and what you have around you, the people that you can lean on. He just didn't have that. And it then showed in that performance against Derek Lewis, where he was very timid. And then he went on and he was so affected by the fallout of that, again, because he wasn't socially very good, because he'd just been on his own, traveling over to try and make a better life for himself. It was very sad listening to him, but he was very honest about it. And it was fascinating. But there's so many things that I took from that. And I, he's learned fast on the back of it. So I was very happy to see what he'd achieved in a relatively short time thereafter.
Yeah, I mean, I followed his story loosely, and he seems to deserve everything that he's got. So fair play to the guy. He's an absolute wrecking machine, like you say. So, that even if he loses his next 20 fights, it doesn't matter, because he's been the champion. So that can never be taken away from you. So fair play to the guy.
Yeah. I've got a couple of other questions for you. I'm not going to ask Tom if the earth is flat. Is Tom ever planning on returning to boxing?
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to return to boxing. I would like to make my WWE debut. I would like to. I'm not even joking, John. I'm being serious. And I would like to play rugby league as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I would like to be a pundit also. So it doesn't stop at MMA. For me. I'm going all in. I'm going for it all, John. I'm going for your job. Just be careful. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I've got the voice for it. The accent's too bad, but I can work on that.
Well, no, the thing is, with the sport growing, particularly in our region, I think there needs to be, again, it's about representation, right? We can't all just be Southern accents. We've had Jack Shaw has been on the BBC Radio 5 live broadcasts. Nick Peet, who's a Scouser. We've also had Paul Craig. So, mate, I think you should definitely harbour those intentions, and maybe even put your hand in the air for an opportunity, because, I think the fans would love to hear from you.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so that's my plan, John. I want to have a couple of WWE matches. Yeah, I want to follow The Rock, do a couple of films and all that.
Why not?
I'm open for anything.
What's the shtick with WWE? What would be what's the thing? Like, what would you go in as?
The cage fighter I'd be, wouldn't I? I'd be the cage fighter. Well, first of all, I'm English. Don't get many English people in there.
No.
Second of all, UFC fighter. You don't get many of them either, so that's stick enough, isn't it, I reckon?
Yeah. What would your name? Do you have to have you'd have to have a name, a fight name?
No, don't need one. It's corny, innit? No, I don't need one.
Love that. Just the way that you shut it down as well. I can see the WWE bosses, big, bombastic, let's give you a name. No, don't need one. Tom.
I don't do stuff I don't need to, John. I just do my own thing. I dance, what's the word? March to my own drum or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I don't do anything I don't want to do. Come on, John, we're going to have to rattle through these questions. I've got to go. Got to go to my, I've got a date with my grandmother.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
We've got to go to our grandma's house. So.
Okay. Well, we got one here. How do you rate Callum Bisping's wrestling?
Good. Very good. I'm going to do quick answers. I'm going to quick fire me, John. Come on.
Okay.
Quick fire.
Have you got your carbs in today?
Yes, and I bet that's my nutritionist, because right now I'm on 650 grams of carbs a day, and I can do it very easily because I'm in some tremendous shape, John. I'm getting tested regular because they think I'm on the juice. They think I'm on the juice now, John, because I'm in such good shape.
Bloody hell! Right. Well, that's a conversation for another time. What colour Venom shorts are you going to be wearing?
Red. I'm going to go for red ones.
Right. Save this and put it on YouTube. Yes, we will. What's your opinion on the heavyweight interim belt?
Pointless.
Okay.
Don't understand it. I don't know why.
Okay. What's Tom's opinion on Gable Stevenson in MMA?
Not got a clue who he is. Never heard of him, John. Okay. I don't know him.
Who taps more, you or Till?
Taps what in jiu-jitsu? Probably.
I guess so.
Probably me. I'd say me.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's about it. Really, we're going through. You know how we get some of these crazy little questions. That was. Oh yeah. What you versus Cyril would be very interesting in the future. I see that. I've been saying about that fight for a little while. You have history with the MMA Factory. I think it's in your future. Would you like to share the octagon with Cyril, regardless of the honours that would be at play? As a martial artist, does it excite you?
Yeah. Of course I would. I like Cyril Gann as a person. Let me start by saying that. I also like his coach as a person.
Right.
Let me just start by saying that. Yep. But that does not come into play when there is sport on the line and money and all the rest of it. Like that doesn't really matter. So yeah, I just start by saying I do like them as people, but it's inevitable that me and Cyril are going to meet one day because we are the future of the heavyweight division. So yeah, we're gonna. Same with Dorcas, same with Spivak, same with Pavlovich, same with all these other up and coming guys. We're all going to fight each other. They're just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. So
they're all getting it.
They're all getting it, exactly. No, well, is that a Darren? That's a Darren. I would never say anything that I ain't saying nothing that Darren Till said. No.
I said it. There you go, Tom. Thank you for your time. Very gracious of you. Always good to chat. My regards to your old man as
Thanks,
well.
Mate.
And all the best for Fight Camp. I look forward to hearing the news and watching you do.
Thanks for having me, John.
Good man.
I'll be doing my thing. I'll be out there enjoying myself. That's one thing you can guarantee with me is that I will be enjoying it as much as I possibly can. That's perfect. Perfect words to live by. Tom, thank you very much. Have a great time John. With your grandma. See you, mate. Cheers. Thank you. Ta-ra. Right, thank you all for watching. Tom Aspinall has left the building. He is dry, but I like it. Very funny. Thanks for checking this out. I will try and upload this on the old YouTube. And next week on the Real Life Ninjas podcast thing that this is becoming, I will be speaking with Paul Felder. We're going to talk nothing really, but triathlon, and also another special guest as well, which I'm working on. Until then, adios.